and welcome to Virtual Sewing Room in Conversation with. And today we're joined by
Lucy, or as I'm known in Virtual Sewing Room, Lucy T at So Lucy Sews. It's lovely
and
to be here.
who else?
And this is Misty. Misty is also a regular to Virtual Sewing Room. Generally, when I sit down at the sewing machine and want to sew, she decides it's time for a bit of attention and to say hello to the others.
I think she's our most regular pet that we see.
Yeah,
There's some pets that are off screen, but she's definitely likes the attention.
frequent flyer. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Well, it's lovely to see Misty today. So whilst we have a chat, we're going to be working on some bits. What have you got there, if Misty allows?
If Misty allows. So I sewed up some lavender bags before Christmas. I thought I might include them as part of a me-made gift for friends, but I didn't need them. So they're sewn but not filled. When they're finished, they'll look like that.
Oh, nice.
It's a really nice, simple for using scraps. So I'm going to fill those so that I have a little stash of gifts for the future. What are you working on?
I've got it's a hoodie that is folded up and I want to cover it, so I am embroidering over. So I've done lots of green viney things, and now I'm going to do some flower decor to build up to cover the white writings.
Nice.
It's normally only worn in the house anyway, but I hate people seeing it. It's branding. So during our virtual sewing room sessions, which I think you've attended since very early doors.
I joined for the first time on the 11th of September 2023.
Oh, and someone's done their research.
Well, I know it because it was my 40th birthday. And as so often at the start of new decades, you kind of think about what you want to do, where you are in life, what your interests are. And I had seen Virtual Sewing Room come up when I'd been looking at other events and things on Eventbrite, and really wanted to join, and had sort of, I don't know what was holding me back, feeling a bit nervous or uncertain. And something in me just said, oh, for goodness sake, just give it a go. And I joined, and it was so welcoming from the first day. And it's now kind of a regular fixture in my calendar. I very much do plan other things around it because it's sort of social time for my hobby and for sewing. And it's definitely an important part of my kind of mental health, self-care, taking time for myself. So yeah.
Sorry, I meant to mute myself during that cough.
No worries.
I apologize. What I liked about when you joined, because you are such a planner, is when we were on, used to get the emails through every booking, and you're such a planner, so that's in your diary, that's dedicated time, and it always made me laugh because I like that dedication.
I mean, I don't have, other than Misty, I don't have anyone kind of day to day who I have to think about and consider. I obviously have work and some other interests, but sewing's my main one. And as I've said, it is such it does my mental health and well-being so much good that I kind of feel I have to plan my life around something. It may as well be virtual sewing room. It doesn't always work out. Sometimes things come up last minute, or it's a particularly busy week and it doesn't work out. But knowing that it's there and it's planned is important. Having that kind of regularity.
And for you, because you're not based in the UK, where are you?
So I'm in Würzburg, which is in the south of Germany, so sort of the north of Bavaria, just west from Frankfurt and north from Munich. I've been here since 2007, so quite a long time now.
So how are the timings for you? Because you're 2 hours?
I mean, we're an hour ahead, so it's an hour later. So virtual sewing room then is 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. During the week. So, yeah.
Is that okay with your bedtime routine? Because that's getting bordering late for me.
It's not too bad. I do quite often have kind of a late afternoon, early evening, almost sort of power nap, 20 or 40 minutes if I'm feeling kind of particularly tired, but generally it's easier in summer because it's obviously lighter later. In winter, it's actually quite good. It stops me going to bed too early sometimes, when it's dark by, 4:30. Sometimes you sort of struggle to stay awake much beyond maybe 8. So no, it's good. It works. And I can put up with one late night a week for something as good as virtual sewing.
Oh, I'm glad. Yeah. And tell us about the kind of projects you normally work on, because we are craft inclusive.
Yes, I normally do sewing, so dressmaking. I'm quite a selfish sewist. I sew for myself. There are plans to make some things for Misty. I have the Merchant and Mills Barca dog coat pattern. So that is on the cards. We do have plans for matching coats, one for me, one for Misty. It's been a plan for a while. Maybe 2025 will be the year that it actually happens. Mm-hmm. But yeah, otherwise it tends to be dressmaking.
Oh, nice. And do you have any first memories of when you got into it? Were you crafty as a child?
I always did some cross stitch as a child. I did kind of different projects for family, for big birthdays or things like that, like for my grandparents and so on. And sewing, I mean, my mum sewed a little bit for me and my brother, but she was always very busy. She ran her own business. She's a knitwear designer. So crafty, I suppose, in the sense that we did go to museums and exhibitions and things. I'm awful at drawing, otherwise I might have drawn. We did, creative activities and things like that, and I've always enjoyed it. I think when I was, for my 30th birthday, my parents gave me a sewing machine, and I did kind of some loop scarves and things like that, but never really got into it properly. And then I suppose, like many, I'm kind of a lockdown sewist. It coincided a little bit with my mum getting back into sewing and dressmaking just before lockdown, so the beginning of 2020. And when I went to stay with her in August 2020, she'd been talking about what she'd been making and sewing me things, and all of a sudden I found myself looking at fabric and sewing patterns, and I kind of said to her, do you think I could sew myself a dress? And she's like, of course you can. So I brought sort of fabric and a pattern with me, one of only 2 German sewing patterns I've ever made. Right. And yeah, I sewed this dress. I still think she probably sewed a little more of it than I did, but I made it. And then a couple of tops from just a pattern she had copied, just a really simple, kind of slightly boxy 3/4 length sleeve, slightly wider scoop boat neck type top. Yeah, and that was it. I was kind of hooked, and when I came back to Germany in September, I kind of started looking at sewing patterns, and then the first pattern I sewed on my own was the Nielsen Jarrah sweater. So yeah, and that was sort of a tried and true for a long time. I think it was then sort of my 2020 2021 lockdown uniform. That's what I lived in, and it kind of went from there.
So you mentioned going to museums. I remember as a kid, my dad dragging us around ones in London, and we 4 of us going around a museum with dad. We found it very boring. But now, absolutely love it. Exhibitions and reading every plaque.
Yeah. I mean, we're very lucky. When I go to visit my mum in Dundee, we have the Victoria and Albert Design Museum. Yeah. For the first kind of offshoot of the V&A in the UK. Dundee, my home city, is a UNESCO City of Design, so it's big design history and very well-known art school and well-regarded art school. Video game design, Dundee's kind of very much an influential hub. So yeah, so now we have the V&A, and my mum's a member, so we can pop in whenever we want. And I think since it's opened, I've managed to see all of the big exhibitions, because they're always there over the summer, which is generally when I'm in Scotland. So this just 2024, there's a big kimono exhibition. It's all about the kimono. It was from from something to Catwalk, from Japan to Catwalk, or something like that. It was a fantastic exhibition. So yeah, that having that on the doorstep is probably the most regular museum I manage to go to now.
And it's not even on your doorstep, it's on your mum's doorstep.
Yeah, but I think that's often the case when you go on holiday somewhere. That's when you maybe do have time for exhibitions and things. And I think just as well, it's so handy. You can just kind of nip down on a Saturday or Sunday morning, and you can go for an hour or 2 hours, and you can go back, a week later. There's not that kind of pressure to, you must go and see everything in one visit. And if you don't, then you've somehow wasted the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, the museums where I am, considering I also worked in them, I definitely haven't been back since I left working there, and that is 10 plus years now.
Yeah.
It's just standard. And a lot of people are like, oh, I didn't even know it was here. Yeah, it's normal.
Yeah, we just had, when I was in Scotland over Christmas and New Year, they had the Dundee Tapestry. So there's the Tapestry of Scotland, which is based on the idea of the Bayeux Tapestry, of charting the history of Scotland. And that, I can't remember when that came out, but it now has a permanent home in the Scottish Borders in Galashiels, I think. And anyway, Dundee now has its own tapestry, and that is being shown at the V&A at the moment. So that was really fascinating to go and see, and you're really up close with the panels. There's no glass between you and them. So yeah, that's really fascinating to see something that's so local being shown on this sort of world stage, really, because it is the V&A that's showing it.
That's amazing. And you mentioned the Bayeux Tapestry. I was listening to a podcast and I remember a couple of really fun facts about it, and I'm hoping this is correct. So it's technically not a tapestry, embroidery, but we still call it a tapestry. So this is one that's on BBC Sounds called You're Dead to Me. I'll link it in the description. And the other I think it's fascinating but funny fact, and how do I put this? There are more male genitalia on the Bayeux Tapestry than there are women.
Interesting.
Only 2 of the 3 women on the tapestry are named or identifiable. The third woman is an unknown woman, whereas you know that there's kings and all sorts, who you can identify, but of the women, 3 of the 3 women,
I have seen them. I've seen the Bayeux Tapestry, but it's quite a long time ago. It's maybe worth another visit to see it in a new light.
There's a duplicate one in Reading that's on display. That's commutable for me to go and visit. And it wasn't even. It was made by nuns in Canterbury, I want to say. It wasn't made in Bayeux at all, North France. Anyway, it's one of my podcast episodes that I have downloaded all the time, because if I quickly need something when I'm on a train or a bus or something, I know I'm going to enjoy it and read the facts, which is how they've stuck. But are you much of an embroiderer?
I've done a little bit. I did cross stitch, and I've kind of come back to cross stitch in the last year. But I do love all of these embroidery kits and things that are kind of available now, and I have to kind of stop myself and say, no, you have now 2 widths in cross stitch. Do those first, and then maybe do the third one that you haven't even started, and then you can maybe do a little bit of embroidery.
Well, I was thinking about you the other day, actually. I was looking at books for Sashiko, is it?
Yeah.
Because you've got
still on the desk next to me.
Yeah. So I was looking at, I've got a voucher for a bookshop. I was thinking, I wonder if there's any dressmaking's like books out there. And I remembered the cards, so I'm gonna see if the shop's got them and maybe have a look at that.
I think what's nice is Sashiko have done a tiny bit and 1 or 2 online sort of small workshops that you can do it anywhere. You can do a little decorative bit on a piece of clothing or on a bag, or And you can really kind of add it to something quite simple to add detail. Yeah, that's something I really want to do more of. I think, as always, it's sort of, I have all the things I would like to do and not enough time to do it. But short of Misty taking over work and picking up the pace in the household and all the things that you have to do in life, I fear that the time for sewing will always not be quite enough.
No. Have you got much near you in Germany in terms of workshops or in-person socials? Or
there was a lovely small fabric shop where I live, which unfortunately has just closed. And she did some workshops and kind of occasionally a sewing day, which was lovely. Other than that, I think I'm far more connected to kind of the UK/English speaking sewing community. I think it's partly because I think English language sewing patterns are there's more diversity, certainly greater size inclusivity. Well, I find a lot of the ones that I see still seem to be quite restrictive in terms of sizing. And I think sewing's one of these things that I understand the vocabulary now in English, and I'm not, of course I could work out what everything is in German, but yeah, it's one of those things I've done in English, and I love all of the indie pattern companies that are available and the whole YouTube blogging community and Instagram and so on. So I've probably not looked as such to see what else there might be nearby. And I think maybe one of the reasons I love Virtual Sewing Room so much is that it's a lovely community, but it also feels quite safe because you can just sort of switch your camera off if you don't want to be seen. You don't have to actively engage. And I think I would maybe feel a bit nervous and uncertain about going to an in-person sewing event where I didn't know anyone, which, yeah, perhaps a bit silly, but
no, I found it sort of... having started going to the gym recently. I went first. I think the first time I went with my husband to his gym just because I didn't know what to expect. I'm just an introvert at heart and new things, and it just made me feel a bit better knowing he was there, even though I went to his gym. We're members of different gyms. It just helped my confidence to then go to my gym by myself because he doesn't have membership there. But yeah, in-person ones I've done 2 now, and the first one was 7 years ago. And I just had to put my big girl pants on and just be like happy, smiley, and just everyone's here, and like there was loads of people going. And so
the ones I've been to, they were quite small. There was maybe 7, 8 of us, and everyone was sewing different things, obviously. But it was sort of like, well, we all, the connection was the fabric shop where the sewing day was being held, and owner, really, really lovely Steffi, very, very welcoming. And you kind of think, well, if we aren't best friends at the end of the day, so what?
We've
had a nice time chatting about sewing. But yeah, like you, I'm kind of more of an introvert, and my job requires a lot of interaction with people. So the willingness to interact with them at the weekend is perhaps not as big as for other people who kind of need that to energize them.
A draining week, and you just need that quiet room. And even now, sometimes I just need a non-virtual sewing room session where it's just me, so I can and that's why it's nice to have other hosts so that they can do it, but I can still make. So when I'm surprised when it's not me hosting, I haven't checked my diary, it's actually a bit of a godsend sometimes. And what's next on the project list for you?
Oh, so many things. I have a marble pinafore by Merchant and Mills in progress, but that's kind of a working on it a little bit at a time. I think that would maybe benefit from kind of a sew for 15 minutes or 20 minutes a day type challenge to myself to do that. What else do I have cut out? I have a Butano button up cut out. It's Friday Pattern Company to try that pattern. I have the Jenna shirt by Closet Core printed, and I know it's a favorite of yours, so I'm planning on doing that in a virtual sewing room in case I have questions.
Yeah.
I've got fabric for that.
And then what fabric have you got for that?
I'm going to try it with just I think it's a dark blue and white striped cotton, which was it's nice cotton, but it's quite inexpensive. So kind of wearable toile idea. And then at the beginning of March, I'm going to enjoy some late winter, early spring sun on Mallorca, and have decided that I could, it'd be nice to have one or two new makes for that. So probably a couple of, what's the name of the pattern? It's French Navy patterns, and I cannot for the life, it's a short sleeved, quite boxy shirt that I've already made two of, and I have fabric to make more.
Yay. Yeah. It's always nice to find those like patterns that just work for you.
Yeah, I'm a big pattern repeater. Once I've found one that I like, it's quite rare to have something, that I've not, a pattern that I've not remade at least once.
Yeah, I mean, the disappointment when you find a pattern, you get excited, and then it just, something's not quite right.
Yeah.
Like if it's fit or just style. Like the Dundee shirt for me, I love a shirt, but there's something, I just can't put my finger on it, but it's just not for me. And it's a nice pattern. It's really easy to sew up. I think the front bit was a bit faffy, and people told me to watch the vlog or sew along that goes with it, but I got away without using that. I just slowed myself down. I don't know what it is. Don't know, and that's fine. That's fine.
There's only been kind of one pattern where after I had sewn the shirt, I was like, okay, let's just get rid of the PDF, because you are not, the paper, you are not planning on making that anytime soon. So just the shirt was more what was finished with, it just didn't have buttonholes. If we had to put a label in it, for goodness sake, that's how finished it kind of was. And after I'd sewn, I was just like, oh gosh. And I ended up taking it to Scotland and left it in my mum's sewing room for about 6 months. And then in the summer I was like, okay, it's maybe not as bad as I thought it was. It can come back with me. It's sort of a Christmas fabric, so it's very much a seasonal item. And I have finished it now, although saying that, I didn't actually wear it this December, so I don't know if that's trying to tell me something.
Yeah, sometimes you've got to, I try to analyze my wardrobe as I can to be like, I haven't worn you. So actually I've got two shop bought garments that are going to charity because I haven't touched them, and one of them's very similar to the Jenna, so it's no, I've done my replacement make now, so that's been shipped out.
I'm finding now as well, since I lived in kind of Jarrah sweaters by Megan Nielsen during kind of end of 2020, 2021 and lockdowns and everything, and sort of for working from home, and I lengthened them, and I'm just like, okay, I'm just over them. They're perfectly fine, but I have other things that I reach for more, and I think they maybe just remind me of that time a little bit as well. And I think maybe my style's moved on a little bit and changed since then as well, through sewing and really being able to make what I want, and I suppose make more difficult and complex items as well, having that kind of confidence to tackle shirts and the scary things, as it were.
I was gonna ask as well, like, is there something that you're scared of making because you don't think that you're capable? Like coats was always like something that was like, I can't make a coat, and now I have, and it's like, oh my god, of course I could make a coat.
Yeah, I do have a couple of coats I want to make, and I think that's just time kind of or also just kind of going, okay, I'm just going to do this, and it's a project where I maybe just need to do a little one step a day and not see it as something to work on for maybe a whole afternoon or something. So I think I'm perhaps more scared about cutting into kind of the more precious fabric, which isn't always the expensive fabric. Sometimes it's just the really lovely fabric.
It's definitely the pretty stuff that I worry about. Like, oh, but this floral, if I get it wrong, I'll never be able to wear it.
And then I kind of have to remind myself, well, everything you've made so far has worked out, and if not, the couple of things that haven't, I've managed to change them and kind of adapt them, and that's been good. But I just need to, I think, be confident and just sort of take it slow and use the good fabric.
So we've mentioned a few brands. Are there any small businesses or people that you want to give a shout out to you particularly love?
Oh, this was so difficult because there's so many. I kind of sort of narrowed it down in terms of fabric shops. Tanya and Vornella Fabrics. She just has such a lovely small range of fabrics. She tries to be very sustainable with the fabrics. This is one of her fabrics. It was
now you've said it makes total sense that that's one of hers.
A fabric that she designed. It's her own design. It's a beautiful cotton poplin that she had in 3 colorways. And I know that she has some more fabric designs coming out this year. But she just has a few things that are maybe slightly different. So she's lovely. Her reels on Instagram as well, she's up to, and so on. So Vornella Fabrics is definitely one that I'm thinking, oh, I could get some fabric that I look at. I think it's so difficult because obviously most fabric shops are small businesses. They're often women-owned businesses, and we'd love to be able to support all of them. And there's just so much pretty fabric out there.
I should really put a disclaimer in these chats for this section. But it's always nice to hear about brands because Bonello, they're quite new to me. I met Tanya at the knitting and stitching show, chatting, and she happened to be there, so I chatted to her briefly, and she's lovely. Oh, she was wearing lovely blouse. It was a floral blouse, and I've seen she's posted wearing it on Instagram as well, but it's a really nice one. I'll try and put a link to it. So she's got a really nice style as well, which probably lends itself to the patterns designs as well.
So I say there's just so many, and I suppose in terms of sewing patterns, perhaps a not quite so well known pattern designer is Sarah from Sewing Therapy. She's based in Canada, and she a lot of her patterns are kind of quite Korean inspired, and she has some lovely couple of dresses, and I think those are actually the patterns that I've generally had the least time between buying the pattern and actually sewing it up. And her tie dress, I know, is one that a couple of other virtual sewing room regulars have made as well. Mandy's made it, and Angelica's made it. And they're just, again, a little bit different.
So we are coming to the end of our chat, I'm afraid, and I've managed to do 2 little purple flowers.
Very nice.
I think I need to do some French knots, which I think I need to concentrate on because those never go right first time. Or second. How did you get on with your pouches?
I have a reasonable number done. I think I've got maybe 4 more to go, and I'm running out of lavender, so I think I'll just manage to get them all done.
So are you ready for a quick fire round?
Yes.
Okay, sorry if the excitement is too much for Misty, set her up. Cool. So yeah, go with first thing that pops into your head. So woven or knit?
Nowadays, woven.
Blue or green?
Blue.
Plain or patterned?
Both. Although I have lovely plain fabrics in my stash with concrete plans, but I do like a floral, and I do like a pattern, and those are, yeah, I think if I were to look in my wardrobe, other than the trouser section, the trousers are all plain,
Yeah.
but everything else tends to be predominantly patterned.
I don't have the confidence for snazzy trousers. I've got to go plain. Like, just couldn't.
I am planning a pair of snazzy trousers this year, though.
Oh, I look forward to that.
Enabled and inspired by you in a fabric godmother fabric.
Oh, is that the black one?
Yeah, the lovely denim with the kind of floral vines. Yeah, I'm planning a jacket and trousers in that.
It's going to be beautiful. Yeah, I've got a skirt in mind for that still.
Yeah.
That'll be this year. Cat or dog?
Dog. I think Misty will disown me if I say cat.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Knitting or crochet?
I can't really do either. I have knit a few things, but I need someone to cast on and cast off, and I can do a scarf. However, I do have a book which claims that by the end of this book I will be able to crochet, and it is on my list of things to do this year, because I think for out and about and traveling and things like that, something that you can easily stick in a bag and take with you would be good.
That's why I enjoy embroidery.
Yeah.
I'll just put both for somewhere in the middle. Train or aeroplane?
I mean, just did a lot of train travel that didn't always go quite according to plan. Train when it's all going well. I do like the kind of slower pace, sit back, watch the countryside whiz by. Probably the most exciting holidays and adventures I've been on have involved plane travel, though. So both.
Spots or stripes?
Stripes.
Tea or coffee?
Both. Coffee every morning. But I do really enjoy sort of herbal tea and things as well. So yeah, very much both.
Okay. Perfect finish or life's too short?
I am more of the perfect finish camp, I admit.
That's fine. You're allowed to. Cake or biscuits?
Cake.
That was very quick. Read a book or watch TV?
Well, I grew up without TV at home. As a child, we didn't have TV, so it was always more books. I do now obviously watch streaming services and things like that, but I don't actually have a TV sitting anywhere in my flat. Read a book, and also a big fan of audiobooks, I would say.
Zips or buttons?
Buttons. Zips terrify me. I've managed to put in 2 zips successfully.
Better than none?
Yeah, oh, yes, better than none, but I am still a bit, oh gosh, a zip.
Are they invisible zips?
One, yes, one is an invisible zip and one is a visible zip on a bag. So yeah, definitely buttons.
Text message or a phone call?
To arrange something, text message. I like having something written down, but for catching up, a phone call.
I like that logic. Sewing machine or hand sewing?
Sewing machine. My hand sewing is horrendous. My mum always hand sews, big lot of hems of, dresses and necklines and everything. And I admire her no end, but I'm a sewing machine girl.
Cream first or jam first?
Cream. It's like the butter, and then the jam goes on top. I just always think the jam would fall off. The cream would fall off the jam, wouldn't it?
That's what I think as well. It's
But
like,
who knows?
yeah, yeah. That is the end of the quick fire round. You said cake quickly. Do you have a particular cake that you really
I do love a carrot cake. I've had some very, very good carrot cake. Best one ever, probably in Costa Rica, of all places, at the National Theatre in San Jose. They have the most amazing cafe, and the carrot cake there was just sublime.
Super. So if anyone's passing, go check out.
Yeah, exactly. If you're passing San Jose, head off to the theatre to go to the cafe.
Amazing, great final top tip there. Thank you very much for a chat this afternoon.
Oh, thank you very much. It was lovely to.
And I'm sure I'll see you on a virtual sewing room soon.
Yes, very much looking forward to it.
Super. Bye.
Bye.